How you doing, mate?
How you doing, Ezekiel?
How you guys doing? I'm doing good. First off, I just want to comment on what Kiriako said. I do data analytics. Stats are meant to inform your, like, give context. XG is one of the most contextual stats out there. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You're an idiot. Whatever. Secondly, another preface.
Whoa. Danny's not an idiot. I'll say that.
Sometimes he can be.
No,
I'm just being brash.
I know you are, brother. No, it's not just you, mate. I can see the chat is being its normal vile self and attacking people, not the argument. But I will say, XG is something I hate in modern day football. I look at the score. Listen, it may be a worthwhile stat. I'm just old school and don't really look at it. But
yeah, that's fair.
Back to what you were saying, Ezekiel.
But
yeah. Secondly,
whether you like XG or not, it's not there to tell you the final result. That's the scoreline.
Yeah,
that's what the scoreline is for.
That's all I look at. XG. Whenever you guys talk about it, I enter some kind of parallel universe. Because it's not that I don't understand.
All it's there to tell you who create the most high quality chances in the game. That's all it is.
I know, but
people take too much. People be like, but this guy had 3 XG, but they lost the game. Like that can happen. That can happen.
I don't care about it. I care. Like I said, the only stat I care about is in the top left hand of the screen where it says.
And that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Whatever. That's it.
All right, let's get back to Ezekiel.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Secondly, I said this to Sim first time I was on. This channel has been like hugely influential in my like Spurs fandom, so I just want to thank you guys for that and what you do. Okay, my main thing I took from this performance, I genuinely think this ref needs to be investigated. I fully believe he put his mortgage or something on the game. And I think if this game was taking place in France, the ref would have been lucky to walk out of the stadium with his life. It was unbelievable what I was watching. And I think there's been multiple performances this season where the refs have heavily influenced how the game went, and it's gone kind of untalked. And I think it kind of came to a head this game because it was so clear, especially on that Ekitike goal. Like how VAR looks at that and doesn't overturn it is beyond me. Yeah. Doesn't make sense. I also think the ref had a little something for Spence this game. Like Spence wasn't getting any calls. I feel like he was getting fouled all the time. Wasn't getting any calls, nothing. It was kind of ridiculous. And like whoever was speaking earlier said, like, yes, the ref, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. It just made me angry, but it shouldn't matter. But yeah, those were terrible decisions. I think it was a positive performance. You can take something good away from the game. I think they fought for the badge, as people were saying, and they performed well. It just sucks. I feel like the game got robbed from us. And I feel like we deserve to walk out of there with a result. And this ref got a call from Bet365 to turn the scoreline around.
Did you have any issues with the red cards?
I think the Xavi one is completely fair. Xavi's one was completely fair. But Romero's, to me, maybe I'm wrong and I didn't watch it hard enough, but to me it looked like kind of accidental, and then the ref said something to him, and then he got really mad.
I could be wrong. It was accidental, to be honest.
Just a quick one between you two. What was his first yellow card for again?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't remember either.
What's it called? Chatting back at the ref or anything? Or was there a reckless tackle? I can't remember. Anyone in the chat?
I think it was a tackle. I don't think it was for dissent.
So that's the word I was looking for. I couldn't remember the word dissent. Thank you, Ezekiel. Yeah, but that, like you were saying with the Beckham one, he is right in front of the ref. Like he can clearly see it. And the worst thing about it
was for arguing Ekitike's goal.
Oh, there you go. So it was dissent. So there you go. So he's done that dissent. But do you know what it is, Ezekiel? He'd won the free kick in a difficult position. In a dangerous position for us. His aerial ability going forward could have been huge for us in that set piece.
Yep.
And right there when we had the bit between our teeth and we were really going for that equaliser, to just lash out there is just petulance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's terrible decision making. And I said this to Sim last week. I personally don't believe Romero should have ever been the captain. He just never seemed very captain-like to me. I understand he's that's a different discussion. I don't know. Like there's not a lot of captains in the team, which is part of the issue. But to me, I understand he's a World Cup winner and he's like a Rolls-Royce center back and he's one of the best players on the team. But it's because of this petulance that he has that I didn't really want him to be our captain, because this was always going to happen. He was always going to get in yellow card trouble. He was always going to blow up at the ref, blow up at a player, and that's not. You want your captain to be the calm, composed one that goes and drags the player away from the ref. You know
Mickey
what I mean?
Van de Ven.
Yeah, but Van de Ven also loses his head sometimes, but Van de Ven's better at it for sure. But yeah, that is part of the issue, though. I don't know if there is really a captain in the squad. I think the captain probably would have been Madison if he didn't go down, who I think would have been a great captain. But yeah, I think throughout the entire Spurs ecosystem, there's just a major lack of leadership. It's not just the squad. I think it's the whole organization. And I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier, Brian, about, everyone's new and it takes time and everyone needs to bed in. But I think that's what really leads to all the issues we see, is that there's this the club's in a transitional period identity wise. You know what I mean? So there isn't something for the players to latch onto just yet, coming from the top of the club down, sort of like a culture thing. And we've been saying that for years, and I think Levy going helps, and it's starting to be rebuilt. And I think it's sort of leading to all this disconnect we see on the pitch, disconnect we see in player acquisition strategy and all this. There just isn't someone at the top that brings it all together. I don't know. I'm doing a bad job of trying to.
No, I think you're saying it's spot on,
exactly.
mate. I think you're saying it's spot on.
Totally spot on. And I will add to that, Zico, what it is as well, and I've said this before, you're right, when it comes to the leadership, when you're paying big transfer fees for players, I'm not going to give a big amount, you're not just playing for their ability on the pitch. You're playing for their mentality, their conduct in training, their hard work. You look at someone like a Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, might not have been the greatest of player and not suited to Ange football, but was very suited to. But his mentality, his leadership, his desire, that sometimes comes with the big money players, because that they're up there because not just what they do on the pitch, how they conduct themselves off it, the way they think about it, the way their standards are high, and we just haven't done it. We just don't buy leaders.
That type of mentality is what brings players to that upper level. You know what I mean? You need to have that to get to that level in the first place.
Sonny is a perfect example. Just look at Sonny.
Yeah. Great example. Harry Kane's also a great example. Just players who put their head down and work and are like, I'm going to be the best no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think there is a lack of that in the team. I think it's been shown through Spence's disagreements with Frank. I think that also kind of shows where the team's head is at a little bit. I think Porro as well. I think he's a great player. I think his mentality is completely backwards, like full on backwards. I feel like he is the first to make an excuse, if that makes sense, especially like with the Instagram apologies and everything. It's like, dude, you don't need to say anything. No one cares about your apology. Go on the pitch and perform. You know what I mean? And also the Bergvall thing with the fans. It's just like, dude, what are we doing? And I think there is positives to look at, though. I personally am Frank in. I think Frank deserves time. I think we all came into the season knowing that it was going to be a rocky season. I think there is definitely credence to what we see in the performances and people losing faith. I understand that. I also think, like what you were saying, Brian, the whole organization is new, and he has to work with that. He has new players, new organization, new captain. Everything's new, and he has to work through that, and he's trying to figure it out. And I think through these past couple games, we have sort of seen an identity emerge. I think he is sort of finding his formation that he wants to play, or his groups of formations that he wants to play, and the combinations of players that he wants to play and everything. And I think January will be huge for him, because we do know that there are deficiencies in the squad, 100%. And if he can fix those and then take those players into what he's already building, I think things might be able to turn around. But I also expected this season to go this way. You know what I mean? I like, the performances are upsetting, of course, but I wouldn't say they're any less upsetting than they were under Ange, to be completely honest, at least for my own personal feeling. It was still, the team was disappointing, and I was screaming at my TV every single day. It's the same thing. So I personally would keep Frank until the end of the season, see what he can do, and let him have January, let him try and figure it out. And if it doesn't work, hopefully in January we just buy good enough players that it doesn't matter who the manager is. And also for Frank, he's not a system manager, so whatever players we buy aren't going to be like what happened with Conte, where you have these leftovers who only work for Conte and no one else.
Yeah, I mean, with Conte, we even got players that didn't work for him, i.e. Basuma, i.e. Spence.
Longley.
Clement Longap. So this is the thing, like you said, it's all brand new. And you look at it, I'm going to give you a player who would have been perfect right now for his mentality. Forget his playing ability. Someone on the pitch that wouldn't take any shit and had standards, Robbie Keane. If you look at that team right now, apart from Romero, who obviously, but there is no Robbie Keane-esque player. He's not the greatest player on the pitch all the time.
Well, he was.
But, no, he wasn't. Like I said, you look at it with Berbatov and whatever he had. Don't get me wrong, he's a very, very good player. But no matter what, that man had standards. And when Robbie Keane left the pitch, you knew he'd given 110% and kept standards and would not let players have an easy ride. We need more people with that kind of mentality and skill set than what we have now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think there's evidence for that in the actual behind the scenes team where if you've watched Madison's YouTube videos, I feel like the feeling around the pitch, maybe it's because he's recovering from an injury, so there's not those expectations or whatever, but it just seems very happy-go-lucky, and it shouldn't be. It should never be like that. That's not a winning culture. You know what I mean? Yes, you want the team to be friendly and like each other and have fun with each other, of course. But when we're in training and when we're working, it should be, we're locked in, we're doing what we need to do. And I feel like, it speaks back to the culture issues of the club. And I think every Spurs fan knows this. The culture of the club is terrible and it needs to be rebuilt. And I think we are seeing the first piece in that machine of it being rebuilt. And it's going to take time.
There's also a conversation to say that Frank is the one that's been heading up to rebuild this culture. And obviously, he's been Brentford manager before, built up that club unbelievably well. But does he have the experience to build a big club like Tottenham and rebuild the mentality at Tottenham?
Yeah, there is something to be said there. But on the flip side of that, is Tottenham a big enough club to get one of the managers that we would trust to do that? Right?
Well, look, you say that, but we're able to get Jose Mourinho here. We're able to get Antonio Conte here.
Other managers
but it's not about that working out. It's about them being allowed to rebuild the culture. They weren't allowed to rebuild the culture.
Yep, and that was down to a certain chairman.
And that was under Daniel Levy, though. But that's Daniel Levy at the top. That's not.
But what I'm saying is we were able to attract those caliber of managers, though.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah. But I also think those two did a lot of.
Also had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that's a part of it. And I also think those two managers did a lot of damage to how other managers look at Spurs, though. Because those two came in and weren't able to do it because of what the club did to them.
Fair. Yeah.
And also, this is something I've thought about for a while. Tottenham is a very, very unique club in its space in world football. Because we're not the biggest of the biggest, but we're not like a Aston Villa, where you're like that one tier below. We exist in this middle ground in between these huge clubs and these, second tier clubs. And that has always been an issue for Tottenham. It comes up when we try to attract players because we think we should be able to get an Eberechi Eze because we're that type of club, but we will always be little broed by those really massive super clubs. You know what I mean? And so it makes it a really unique position for the club to be in to try to advance the team. And I think the past, I'd say 4 years, they just haven't navigated that position the best. And so it's a really hard team to rebuild, and it's a really hard club to bring to that level because of that, because it's in that in-between space.
Yeah, it's very true. Spot on. And we just got to hope and pray that we're able to do that. And if you're going to rebuild this club, the recruitment needs to be absolutely spot on.
Yep.
The recruitment hasn't been spot on over the last 5 years. So that's probably the main crux of the issue of where we're at. And obviously, we're not going to be able to bring in that high caliber of player unless we break the wage structure. Otherwise, you're going to be ended up getting 50 million Brennan Johnsons and 65 million Solankis and Richarlisons.
Correct. Spot on.
Yeah, but do we have the money to break that wage structure?
I think,
People
we
say
do.
we do.
We do.
Enoch does, but does the club? Is Enoch going to give the club that level of leash to do that? Right? People are theorizing they might because Levy's gone. We don't know. And Levy, I mean, Enoch's entire purpose isn't Tottenham Hotspur. You know what I mean? They have other
but
things
even
they
the
have to
club,
worry
we
about.
generate so much more revenues than a lot of, the majority of the Premier League. So there's no reason why we don't. When you're looking at wage to turnover and all that kind of stuff, like we rank one of the lowest in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more wiggle room than anyone imagines.
Add to that as well, the Edic have come out and said all the right things we want to hear. They've said funds will be made available. We're aiming, we want success on the pitch. We want this, we want that. That all aligns with breaking that wage structure. Now, obviously, whether they do that in January and bring in a big... Listen, if they're going to bring in a big player, they're going to have to put big money down to a club and they're going to have to offer the big wages. This January is we always go, oh, this January or this window's the window or this is a big window. All eyes, I think, not just Spurs fans, are looking at Edic to say, right, is this new Tottenham?
I'm just waiting for the line saying January's a hard window to do business.
Oh, that came out yesterday.
Oh, did it?
That came out yesterday. But we're going to have to see. Do you know what? Like I said, if we signed a Conor Gallagher, a Ruben Neves, we got in a left winger, whether it be a Savinho or whoever it may be, and lay down big money, that's already a massive step in the right direction for me in January. You can only do it what's there in January. Edic have the opportunity to say, right, world, this is what we said. If they don't back them, then there's going to be drama February onwards. They've got to come out and show that they mean business, hopefully bringing the players Frank needs, and I think Frank can turn this around in the second half. People going with 13th, 14th, all right, it's December. Let's see what it says.
And it's so congested, a few wins and we're bang up there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they have to go big this January or it's going to be a ginormous PR disaster for V9 to clean up because that's what they've been teasing. And hopefully they do. And if they do, I'll be ecstatic and I'll say, that's one more step up the mountain towards a better culture.
Yeah.
And that shows your intent.
Nothing 60,000 free scarves can't fix.
Do you know what those home fans deserve to
You mean blindfolds?
Yeah, blindfolds, yeah. Ezekiel, pleasure to have you on today, mate.
Quick question, Ezekiel. Where are you calling from?
New Jersey.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Canada. I was going to say yes, another Canadian.
You can go meet up with him for the World Cup final.
I could
mate.
come up. I could be in New Jersey for the World Cup final.
20 minutes away from the stadium.
Oh, mate, we'll keep in contact. I'll be there.
Oh yeah.
I'll be in New Jersey for the World Cup final.
There's a Spurs bar in my hometown.
Well, very hopefully, I'll be in the World Cup. I'll be sitting in the ground. But beforehand and afterhand, definitely meet up somewhere at the Spurs bar.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, big up, Ezekiel.
See you later, Ezekiel.
Yep, have a good one, guys.
And you.
You too, mate.
Great call.
Yeah, great call from Ezekiel.
Great call.